In this lesson, we'll review a vocab and context problem. It's part of the critical reading section. We're on page 765, question 14. In line 43, naturally is closest in meaning to. Whenever you see a vocab and context question, you'll have one word, sometimes a phrase, always in quotes, and it will be referenced back to the passage with a line number. You have to determine the meaning of that word or phrase in the context of that passage. The best piece of advice I can give you for these, it's never the primary meaning of the word. So if you saw the word naturally just independently, just on its own, you'd probably think of a word like genuinely or authentically. It's not going to be one of those two. It's going to be a secondary alternate meaning, and you have to glean the usage or the definition in the usage of the passage. So I've written the end of the sentence here, and presumably you've read this passage. So I'm going to read a little bit earlier in the book just for the full context. I'm now on page 764, line 39. In 1776, Abigail Adams urged her husband in a letter to remember the ladies in his work on the legal code for the new republic, reminding him that the wives needed protection against the naturally tyrannical tendencies of their husbands. So similar to the sentence completions, you really want to get in the habit of trying to predict what this word naturally means in the context. These husbands were naturally tyrannical, and Abigail Adams, the first lady, she's urging her husband, remember the ladies, because these wives need protection. So naturally, you really want to come up with a word similar to inherent. This is just an ingrained trait that these men had. Another word for that would be intrinsic. They just had it. It was inborn. That's the word you're looking for if you can kind of predict these. So let's look at the answer choices. A, appropriately. This nothing to do with inherent. Appropriate is way off base, so you can hopefully eliminate that immediately. B, authentically. Authentically, that is the primary meaning. You're almost always going to have that, and that's not a choice. By the way, sometimes you'll have authentic and genuine, and you could never pick either of those no matter what because they're virtually the same word. C, thoroughly. Thoroughly means completely, and you might be inclined to pick that, but that's not good enough. We're looking for just an inherent trait these men had, and that's that. I'm just going to skip the answer. D, unsurprisingly, in E, that's way off, and that doesn't work. And hopefully you'll arrive at the correct choice, which is D, and it's innate. Innate means intrinsic, inherent. It literally means being born with this quality. Another word we had in the sentence completions before, we had the word nascent. A nascent start, just being born right at the beginning. And so the answer here is D. Hopefully you'll begin to recognize how important vocabulary is, not just for the sentence completions, obviously, but even for critical reading. Lots of words and answers are based on vocab. All right, the answer here is D. See you next time. Thanks for watching.